Hey guys, it's Jason Webb. This is the show that highlights local business leaders and the movers and shakers of Minnesota. Welcome to Minnesota Made. All right, welcome guys. This is Jason Webb with the Minnesota Made podcast. I'm sitting here with Mitch Sloan with CB Machining?
CB Machining Engineering.
And engineering. Don't forget the engineering part.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that, Mitch. And we're located in Buffalo, Minnesota. And, Mitch, you gave me a tour of the facility.
Right.
And got a lot going on. One of the cool things that you brought up was the fact that, COVID hit. And you guys adjusted and made it work. Whereas I've seen a lot of companies out there that struggled through it, never were able to make an adjustment. They weren't, I don't know why, not nimble enough, didn't have the opportunities present themselves. But I really think it's great that you guys made that adjustment from, I believe you said, aerospace into more of a personal defense, or what would you call the weapons component of it?
Right, I mean, we just consider it firearms manufacturing.
Firearms manufacturing?
Yeah, so it's mainly components. We do have our FFL for producing actual firearms, but right now we're focused on just components. It's been a passion project for a few years, and with the slowdown, we had to kind of make lemonade out of the lemons. So we ended up finding the components that were the right fit for the equipment that we had available. And so we did not have a customer base for that product.
Sure.
And anybody we reached out to, they were looking for us to have something to show them before they would do business with us. So we actually went out really on a limb and started producing the components on our own based on the mil spec prints, so that we had an actual product to market. And then once we had that product, then it was no problem finding clients to take that on. But it was definitely a risk, especially at a time when we had a significant downturn in business, to continue to invest, to keep our employees all here as best we could, and keep the machines going.
Now, I don't know if you want to get into any of the detail on the impact COVID had on your business and kind of the adjustment you had to make. Did you want to share any of that?
Don't really know how to answer that other than what I kind of just did.
Well, it was like the aerospace, Boeing,
right, okay.
20%, slash overnight.
Right,
is that right?
Right. So
that's
with the right, exactly. Yeah. So the Boeing 737, highest production volume commercial aircraft in the world, they put a stop work on them. Boeing quit producing and quit selling that aircraft it got to us around January of 20, and that was an immediate overnight 20-25% impact to our business.
So something happened with Boeing, they're like, no more of this aircraft.
Correct, yeah, they lost a couple of flights overseas of the 737 MAX aircraft.
Sure.
And it's actually, I have a model of it here. So with that, they needed to do,
make some changes.
Right, with the FAA and all that kind of thing.
Did away with that model completely and came up with something new, and then they're like, we don't need your parts anymore. Right? Basically?
They actually just stopped making the plane because it was such, there are so many businesses in this nation that are dependent on that one aircraft, that they just needed to call a timeout, understood what they did wrong, sure. Which they did recognize, and they were able, through investigation, to determine exactly what went wrong in both crashes. They were both due to the same, it's called the MCAS system. Okay. And once they were able to develop the fix that was bought off by the FAA, then they were allowed to start flying those aircraft again. And then once the aircraft were back in the air, and then they would get new orders from customers, and that has already happened. Okay. So earlier this year, Boeing did get the approval for the 737 to be back into
Production. Okay,
So,
good.
so we're back to producing parts, but it's going to be a slow ramp up because they need to build their clientele's trust back. You know?
Oh, sure.
So before they're able to get back to the levels that the aircraft was at in terms of production volumes.
Sure. And so that downturn resulted in what you called a passion project.
Right.
Well, why the word passion? Is this something you're really interested in?
Right. Well, my business partner and I are both avid hunters and sportsmen, and a lot of the employees here are also avid gun owners and sportsmen and all that kind of thing. So everyone here enjoys this particular industry and the things that we're doing. So it kind of gets everybody a little bit excited about developing these new products.
Yeah.
And they are, even though they're built off of you know, the mil-spec prints, they are our own. And we were you know, having to be able to produce this from the ground up without a lot of help was
Quite a task.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A testament to the folks that work here for sure.
Yeah. So you are one of the owning partners of the company, is that correct?
Correct, I'm the minority partner. My business partner, Brian Dodd, he's the majority owner, and he is CEO of the company. I'm the president and more of the day-to-day operations side of the business.
Okay. Can you give me a little backstory? Where did little Mitch come from, and the path you had to take to get to this point?
Okay, so yeah, I guess it kind of was a culmination of a lot of years of really developing my skill set and becoming around enough in order to take on a business. Even though we're not a huge company, we're big enough where I have to understand all facets of a mid-size company.
Yeah.
So I started off as a manufacturing engineer, getting my degree at NDSU. Brian Dodd was my college roommate, and he also was a manufacturing engineer by trade. And we kind of went our own ways, and my background became more of subcontract manufacturing. His background became more of equipment and kind of large-scale company ownership, really.
Oh, okay.
And so then, because he had owned businesses for several years, and with my background, his ability to diversify his portfolio, and my ability to maintain a company like this, it was a good fit.
Yeah, you guys bought the company back when?
2017.
And it went really well.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, right up. Yes, we couldn't miss in
Yeah.
the first couple of years there, and that was really great and put a lot. Now, I have to say that all the folks here, they need absolute credit because they put in tons of hours in between 2018 and 2019 to bring in to make all the business we brought in, to bring it all to life.
Yeah.
You know, took all those folks, but we brought in a lot of new work, kind of new blood for the area. In some of the customers and clientele we brought in.
Okay.
And yeah, it went really well the first couple of years.
Yeah, well, that's good. That always helps when you're buying a business, right?
Right.
But were those sleepless nights for you? Were you nervous getting into something like that? I mean, I talk to people all the time that want to be their own business owner. You know what I mean?
I'm more nervous for this setting than I am running the business. No kidding. I mean, this is not a natural feeling for me, right?
Me neither.
Right. So taking on no, it wasn't.
No, it felt natural. It felt
it
good.
does.
Yeah.
It does. Yep. Because we knew what we were doing. We knew what our
Had a
goals
plan.
were. We had a plan. Success is equal parts luck and prepreration.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
we were prepared,
Yeah.
and then we were lucky.
Yeah.
So for the couple of years, but now we've also had to learn resilience over the past 18 months
Yeah.
with this thing slowing down in the end of 19 and then of course COVID
Sure.
and all of that. So we've had all, as the rest of the industry had equally some bad luck, but
Yeah.
we've done what we could to adapt and overcome.
Good. One thing that I got a feeling for as we walked around and took a tour was that you guys seem like a close-knit group. I think you used the words, it's kind of, you feel like they're family.
Right.
Your employees, you think a lot of them. which is rather unique. You know, my mom worked in a factory setting. I mean, not as advanced as this, but I was having a little bit of a flashback coming to visit my mom at a place she worked at. And I remember her talking about, you know, complaining about management and ownership and how poorly they treated their employees. And I don't know, can you tell me a little bit about how important that is, that you have good employees, that you guys take care of each other? You mentioned something about the hours they work, and they can kind of play with it a little bit depending on what they have going on in their personal life.
Yeah. So the most important thing is building a trust between management and the people that actually do the work, right?
Sure.
And it does go both ways.
Yes.
So I don't. There's an expectation from both of us, for me to make sure the work is there, to make sure that their benefits are intact, to make sure, of course, that the pay is there, that there's an equal work-life balance, and that I have a deliberate approach to growing the business.
Right.
And and just not winging it, right? Because there a lot of people's livelihoods are at stake, and so you have not only the 30 people that work here, but you have their wives, their kids, their in-laws, their own parents, and you get this extended network that all depend on us to do right by the people that work here.
Yeah,
so
it's a big responsibility.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and their responsibility is to come to work, be here on time, to help me to help them, identify when things aren't going well, identify the things that we could be doing better, meet the requirements of the job, and help us to find ways of managing our costs, cutting costs, and trying to put more money back in their pockets, and make sure that they're as efficient as possible, and they're not frustrated at work, and they're, again, trying to maintain their sanity as well.
Right.
So it's all those things. It's just this equal balance that we manage every day.
Yes.
And so that is a huge focus for us to keep that going. The culture is the most important thing, and if you don't have that, there's really no point in any of it. You can't take care of your customers unless you're taking care of your employees. So it is really a family atmosphere. So we try to find ways to cater to the employees, for lack of a better word, in terms of their hours. We work a flexible schedule here, and that's important to give people the opportunity to work within reason, a schedule that best fits their home life.
Sure. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, so CB Machining and Engineering. Can you, tell me a little bit about what you guys specialize in, or if there's a particular client you typically work with, or if a potential client that you might work with is listening to the podcast. Sure. If there's a particular client that's potential client that's listening to the podcast that might be a good fit for you, what does that person look like? What are your capabilities?
We are really geared toward, we're a job shop, right? And a job shop is small, discrete orders. Now, it's all relative as to what a small, discrete order is in this world. A small, discrete order for an OEM of electronics, it could be 1 million units.
That's not too small.
Right. For an aerospace company, it could be 15 pieces, right?
Sure.
So we actually are developing methodologies and an approach, a manufacturing approach, to suit them both, because we really need to keep our business as diversified as possible, so that we can manage these ups and downs in industry specifics. Aerospace took a big hit before COVID with the 737 slowdown, and doubled down once the COVID.
Because nobody was traveling.
Because no one was traveling, correct. But then you have other industries that picked up. Trying to find a camper right now. You know what I mean? So everybody wants to
or a jet ski.
Or they're right. Vehicles. There's firearms. right?
Yeah.
So you find the industries that that we can keep with, that we can approach and find work in, and we can find work in them all. If it has to be built out of a piece of stock, we can make it.
Right.
And that's the mentality. So we want to have an approach that we can make 15 pieces economically and with good quality for our customers. And of course, so you have to look at the three components, which is your quality, your delivery, and your cost. And the same thing for the million components. And I think that with that scaling manufacturing approach, you saw all the different equipment we have here, that we can best steer a job towards the right equipment, the right people, so that we can manage the whole gamut.
Yeah. Of all the equipment I looked at, it's probably strange for me to say, and that one, man, where that measures to the 0.000, like the fifth decimal point,
right,
to make sure it's exact.
Yeah.
And you said the human hair is to the third.
So a human hair is 3 thousandths, which is 2 zeros and the 3. So
Yeah.
it's third decimal place, 3,000th thickness of a human hair.
Yeah.
And we're measuring down to 50 millionths, which is
That's crazy.
4 zeros and a 5. And you have to be able to measure to closer than what the specification requirements are. Because you have to know, your measuring equipment has to be better than your manufacturing equipment.
Right.
So that you know that what you're producing is what the customer wants.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And they have that same equipment, so you better be able to do it. You can't, there is no option, especially in aerospace, to say, yeah, it's good without being without having the certified, calibrated equipment to validate that.
Sure. Yeah. What's the future? What does CB machining and engineering look like in the future? Any plans? Anything coming down the pipeline?
Aspirations, I guess.
Yeah.
If the firearm industry continues the way it is, which we hope it does, at least for some time, and we can get into a position where our current clientele wants to do business with us for a long time. We want to keep that going and grow it as much as possible. We have a couple of larger customers, Fortune 500 customers, Spirit Aerospace and Triumph Actuation Systems. Those are two customers that we want to grow with, and we do want to do business for the OEMs. But at the same time, we have a great core business of working for other local and regional manufacturers that we want to continue to grow with as well. And so it's really just building on the foundation that we've already got established. And we see the opportunity there.
Yeah.
It's there. We have customers, especially at the end of 2019, that just, we want you to do more.
Yeah.
and so we're excited for that. We want to do some more standardization, helping with, as you grow, you need more people, and we want a consistent result. So we need to have a solid apprenticeship approach to developing our young people, and so that we can be here for the long haul.
Yeah.
We do have a large amount of space here behind the building that we'd very much like to put a larger building in.
Oh, okay.
And
Nice.
And I think that if things keep going the way they are, and we can again keep building on this the foundation, then I think that we can certainly do that.
This is what my crystal ball says, Mitch. With your military background, right? You were in the Air Force,
Right.
or Air Guard.
Yeah,
right?
Air Guard.
Call it a passion project.
Right?
How about becoming like the next Beretta or something?
Sure.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty sweet.
We've got some designs of our own for suppressors that we're very eager to get finish the development on, and we've also got again some aspirations of our own approach on the AR-15.
Okay.
But that's the long play, right?
It's fun to think about, right?
It's fun to dream about, absolutely. But it's something that will take many years for it to I think for it to take hold. But at the same time, it'll be fun.
Yeah, let's keep plugging away.
Absolutely, yeah. The best place you can be is when you're making your own parts.
Right.
When you're making your own products.
Right.
You're totally in control of your own destiny at that point.
Sure.
And so that would be great, but Still, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. So we're very appreciative for the business that we have today.
Yeah.
And we very much look forward to not only taking care of our current customers, but growing with them.
Okay, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And one more thing I want to mention, because I think it's important. You just ended your career with the Air Guard, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
What did you put in your 20 years?
21, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations. I appreciate it.
It was, you know, it's one of those things that you look at the good decisions you made through your life, and that was the best one I made, and staying with it is very, it's not easy when you've got the obligations that you get as you get older and your career develops and you have a family. It is a commitment, and couldn't, you know, the military recognizes that, and they do everything they can to support those, you know, those other, you know, this life outside of the military.
Well, I'm about to throw myself under the bus. I was in the Army Reserve and Guard as a medic, and man, I was counting the days that a 6-year contract was up. I was not going to re-up, so kudos to you, man.
You got to make it through your first 12. That's the
12?
getting over the hump. Yeah,
Okay.
You got to do that second enlistment. And so I've only met people, and this is true, I've never met someone who said, I'm so glad I got out of the Guard. Every time I've met people, they say, I wish I would have stuck it out.
Yeah.
Because you've already done all the training, you know. It's just, it's an obligation, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
And you have to find the right fit too. There's a lot of people that were in sections, MOSs, that weren't a good fit for them. And then the culture's important there too.
Yeah.
If they don't have a culture that rewards and appreciates the people that stick it out, then it is difficult to stay in. And I've seen it all, you know, because there's so many different people in different military, you know, the different armed branches.
Yeah. Well, I think I chose the right MOS. You know, a friend of mine recommended it to me. He's like, man, you got to go into medical. Because like 70% of the people in medical are women.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I could do that.
So, yeah. Why do you think I chose the Air Force over the Army? Because there's a lot more women in the Air Force than there are in the Army.
Funny. Yeah, it was a good experience. I mean, I'm glad I did it, but I was also glad to be done, to be honest, you know. But yeah, thank you for your 21 years in the Air Guard, man.
I appreciate your service as well.
Yeah.
6 is still absolutely better than not doing it at all, right?
Right,
For sure.
right, I guess.
Well, I thank you for yours as well.
Thank you. Well, I don't know, I think that's about it. CB Machining and Engineering in Buffalo, Minnesota, Mitch Sloan, right?
Correct.
I love that last name, Sloan. Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about what's going on with this company in a few years. And I think I think you're doing great things. I love the way you take care of your employees. You're diversifying a little bit. And I don't know, I keep leaning towards that whole firearms industry for you guys. I think that's going to go somewhere.
It's definitely exciting. We're glad to be doing it. I appreciate you guys reaching out and asking me to do this. You know, anytime I can talk about this company and the great things we're doing here, the great people that work here, I'm more than happy to do it. So I do appreciate you reaching out as well.
If somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they need a part made, if they're a machine shop and they're just too busy and they need some help, right? What's the best way to get a hold of you and see what you can do for them?
Okay, first thing you can do is call our main line, 763-684-1590, or go to our website, www.cbmachining.com.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
All right.